Alright, how's it going? My name is Hillel Smith. I'm a filmmaker from Accra, Ghana, and this is Midnight Rant. In Midnight Rant, I'm going to be talking about films, entertainment, media, cartoons, anime, maybe even music sometimes. Whatever. I want this to be an interactive thing, so if you guys have something you want me to talk about, or there's something you want me to explore or to watch or to check out, whatever, I'm totally open, and I would love to do that. The format of this show is going to be typically a film analysis or a film review, or maybe sometimes both depending on the time, and a random top 5, which will basically be random. It may be something that I come up with just sitting here talking to you, or something that I've thought about beforehand. So let's go. This is my random top 5 movies to watch when you're baked out of your mind. Now, I don't, condone these practices, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So first on this list is a movie called Smiley Face. It stars Anna Faris. The movie's about a girl who eats her roommate's brownies and gets really stoned. It's really ridiculous and it's super funny. Anna Faris is an awesome actress and is a really hilarious film, so check it out. The other movie is Trailer Park Boys, the movie. I've watched this movie before, but I honestly don't remember what happened. I just remember that it was super hilarious, and it was a really fun time watching it. And if you've ever watched the series of Trailer Park Boys, you know that these guys are really hilarious, and the show is really funny and ridiculous, and it's perfect for that mindset or that mind frame. Another movie to check out, and this is still on the comedy spectrum, is Pineapple Express. I think it's probably one of the most popular stoner movies. I think that's what they call them, stoner movies out there. It stars James Franco and Seth Rogen, and it's just, a really funny movie from beginning to end. You're just kind of laughing at how they just escalate the ridiculousness from 0 to like 1,000. Now moving into the more kind of trippy spectrum. A great movie to watch is Cloud Atlas. Movie, it stars Tom Hanks and Halle Berry, as well as a huge, diverse cast, and it takes place over, I think, maybe 6 different timelines. It's really interesting and it's super introspective, and I think if you watch it under the influence, it helps you to kind of get a different perspective on the film, and it's really engaging visuals, and the neo soul, which is the future timeline, is super interesting, super fascinating. And of course, the on my random top 5 list is Inception, which the first time I watched it in the cinema, like I thought like I was a part of the movie. Like DiCaprio turned and was like, "Hey man, what do you think about this situation?" I'm like, "What?" Definitely a great movie to watch, when you've had one or two. I watched Aquaman over the Christmas break. So Aquaman, on the whole, it was fun. I think if you go in without any expectations like me, you're gonna have a pretty good time. Jason Momoa is a really great actor, and he has oozing with charisma, and it's fun to watch him kind of have fun with this character. And the visuals are really great, and the music was amazing, and the direction was cool. Where it kind of falls flat for me, and in general, is the story. The story, and a lot of critics have talked about this, the story just kind of didn't really work. And I think it's really the acting and then the score and the direction that kind of saved the film. And I think audience really vibed with it, which is really cool. For me, once you lose me at the story, I kind of lose interest. But I think they did a really good job of keeping the audience captivated in spite of the shortcomings of the film. I definitely suggest you go check it out if you have the time. But if you don't, just wait for it to come out online or on Blu-ray or whatever. I see dead people. So The Sixth Sense is a horror film that came out in 1999. It was the second highest grossing movie of that year. It was M. Night Shyamalan's first film, and it was up until this year the highest grossing horror movie adjusted for inflation. I was having a conversation with a friend about The Sixth Sense, and something came up to me, or something stood out to me. It's like, did Haley Joel Osment's character know that Bruce Willis's character was a ghost the whole time? So I decided to go back and watch the movie, and then kind of figure out, like, for myself what my opinion was on this. And honestly, after watching the movie the second time, what I can definitely say, the movie is awesome. I mean, watching it the first time, it was really great. But now watching it, having a more of an understanding of film and filmmaking techniques, I have a deeper appreciation for the film and the pacing, and then the whole aspect of it. I know a lot of people are going to talk about the twist. I see dead people. So for me, someone had actually spoiled the movie for me. Someone had told me about the ending, and spoiler alert, by the way, if you haven't seen the film, stop watching now. You definitely want to watch it. Bruce Willis's character, who's playing a child psychologist, is therapizing Haley Joel Osment's character, Cole Sear. And what we find out later on in the movie is that Cole, the little kid, can actually see ghosts, which is the reason why he's so troubled. And we find out at the end that Bruce Willis himself has actually been a ghost the whole time. So when I rewatched the movie, I think this just goes to show how great the acting was and the direction was. You can't really tell if he knew or not. Like when he first meets him, there's kind of a weird interaction between them when Bruce Willis kind of follows Haley Joel Osment's character to the church, and they have their first dialogue there. And I think he has his suspicions about whether Bruce Willis's character is a ghost or not. And as the movie progresses, it kind of goes back and forth. The scene, one of the scenes that stands out to me is a scene where Bruce Willis is sitting with the mom and they're not talking. And everyone assumes that maybe they've had a conversation already or something like that. And Haley Joel Osment's character comes in and, he's looking at Bruce Willis, but he doesn't say anything to him. And then the mom leaves. And things like that would make you think that he knew. The famous scene where he says, Haley Joel Osment says, that reveals that he can see ghosts. I see dead people. He tells Bruce Willis, don't tell anybody. I mean, I don't think he would tell him if he thought that he was a ghost. I feel like, he was kind of oscillating between believing that he was, and then, he wasn't sure himself. But there's a lot of evidence to suggest one point or another point. So at the end of the day, I think it really depends on the person who's watching it and what you think when you watch the movie and how you interpret it. I watched the YouTube video in my research for this where someone asks M. Night Shyamalan, the director, hey, he gets up, in the audience, and he's like, this question has been plaguing me for 14 years. And, he says, did Cole know that Malcolm was a ghost the whole time? And M. Night Shyamalan is like, absolutely. So, I mean, then again, I really don't know. If that was the director's intention, I think it's still really cool that it's open-ended, because there definitely is evidence that suggests that he may not have known, and it was ambiguous. And I think that's the best kind of movie where you, the audience, can kind of make your own interpretation, whereas what you think is going to happen, what's not going to happen. Another thing that I wanted to kind of point out is that Cole is generally apprehensive towards Malcolm when he meets him. And I think that's just because it's difficult maybe for him to differentiate between the people that are real and the people that are ghosts. And I think most of his interactions with the ghosts that we see are from in his room, where it's very obvious that there will be ghosts. But from the outside world, it's a little more challenging maybe for him to discern between who is a ghost and who's not. There was one more thing I was going to talk about, is the shots. If you watch the film, the interactions between Cole and Malcolm, they usually start off with POV shots where without any over the shoulders, which is typically what filmmakers do when they want to show kind of a distance between two characters. As the conversation goes on, then it switches to a over the shoulder where there's been maybe a shift in like the energy of the scene. For instance, if you watch the I See Dead People scene, it starts off like that, whereas it's a POV shot from Cole's perspective, a POV shot from Malcolm's perspective, and then after a while, when he reveals a secret and he accepts it, we see an over-the-shoulder shot, which kind of reveals that the characters are getting closer together, or there's a closeness now between them. And also, I want to talk a little bit also about the acting, particularly Haley Joel Osment's acting is just really great. He just plays the creepy kid so well, and I think that also adds to the whole ambiguity of the thing, is that you can't tell, with his actions, and the way he looks at Malcolm. If you watch the movie from the beginning, he has this very, scared look when he looks at him. So, this is also another thing that could suggest that he may have known. But I think definitely by the end, at least for me, I got a sense that he kind of was like, yeah, this guy's a ghost, because he's like, I'm not gonna see you again. And it's not like I'm not gonna see you again. I'm like healed now as a patient, but I'm not gonna see you again because I know that you're a ghost, and you've done what you were supposed to do. And also, the film was over. I think, if you haven't watched it in a long time, you should definitely check it out. And it's a great film. There's a time when you're watching it, and at the end, or no, sorry, not at the end, in the middle, I see dead people, where he's like, the ghosts, they don't know that they're ghosts, they're going around, they don't accept it. It's like, I watched another YouTube video where the guy said that, the audience is the ghosts, because we did the same thing that Bruce Willis did. We watched the movie, we saw what we wanted to see. I see dead people. And at the end, we made our own conclusions. That's why the twist was so powerful, because, Shyamalan and the team used filmmaking techniques against the audience, where we're like, okay, yeah, we've seen movies before where the characters you're just there in the middle of the action, and there are lots of scenes where Bruce Willis just pops up. He just enters the scene where he just starts talking to Haley Joel Osment's character, and it's really interesting when you watch it again, knowing this stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I should have known, but I mean, should you have? I mean, they did a really good job. I see dead people. This is my first video. I really hope that you like it. I want to try and do one a month, or maybe more if I have time. If you have any questions about any of the films I've talked about, feel free to talk about it in the comments, and please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it when you do, or if you do, and thanks.